you gotta pay attention.
Smart.
Is it working?
Girl, yeah, probably.
What do you mean probably?
Oh, well, it went beep beep.
Okay.
Okay. They gonna edit it, probably. I ain't.
You just can't kick it.
Okay. So, you look.
Where are you going?
You spell your last name M-U-F-F-O-L-E-T-T-O.
That's correct.
Okay. What brought you to Purdue?
I was originally a pharmacy major, and so I decided to come to Purdue because it was the best pharmacy school in the state.
I didn't organize the questions.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll just ask them in order.
Okay.
Being an RA, what do you notice about how different groups of people interact with each other?
I've noticed that you kind of see a lot of cliques. So these kids are engineering majors, or these kids are rushing sororities and fraternities. Living in a first-year student residence hall, you see mostly first-year students interacting based on what classes they share and how they can get together as a group and work on group projects effectively, since they also live in the same hall and they know all the same people.
Before becoming a student here, what was your perception of international students, and how has that changed?
The high school I went to was pretty much all like one specific group of people as far as ethnicity goes. I didn't really have a lot of interaction with a lot of international students. There were some students from Germany that I spent a lot of time with because I spent most of my time in a German classroom. Because we were just in high school at the time, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to like get out and like explore things and do stuff like that because of the town I grew up in. But all of them seemed to be very hardworking because they were paying considerably more money than I was to be over at my public school up in northern Indiana. So as far as that's concerned, I would say hardworking and very open to making friends. I would say that that perception hasn't really changed.
How does student life in dorms affect diversity on campus?
I think that student life in the res halls helps a lot as far as opening first-year students, especially because that's what I have most experience with, like opening their eyes to the different people that are on campus and the different opportunities they have to experience diversity on campus. I know that personally I hang up plenty of flyers a week educating students on what diversity is and stuff like that. And being at a university where we have a lot of diversity, I think that helps because you can see a lot of that in the residence halls by themselves.
As a female student, what has your experience been like here at Purdue? Has it been typical?
I would say that my experience in general has been atypical just because of the fact that I'm at this big science and engineering school and then I'm an arts major. But I would say as a female, I've not really been in a situation where my gender has affected something I was doing. After having switched into the liberal arts especially, I'm in pretty much predominantly classes with females, except for my my German classes. That's mostly actually engineering guys because there's so much German engineering going on in the world that I would say there's more males in there, but I would say I guess whatever you're going to define as typical or what the typical person would define as typical, yeah, I'm having a typical college experience.
How would it be different at another university?
I think that as far as my education goes, and no beef with Purdue at all, because of my major, I would probably be getting a more well-rounded education as a liberal arts student. My major does not have a lot of classes offered in it, so we have to take what we are given when it's given, and we don't really have a lot of options to branch out and learn more about culture or specific types of language and stuff like that. So I think that and I hate to say this out loud, but I think that IU would have given me a better, well-rounded education as an art major based on the courses that they offer.
Does Purdue have a good system for promoting diversity?
I think that Purdue struggles to to promote diversity, mainly because what they spend a lot of time doing is trying to make people who are considered by Purdue administration to be diverse. They try to make them feel more at home. So what they end up doing is they take the typical students and kind of like throwing diversity at them. And having worked in an environment where there's so much diversity, and I mean, I don't go door to door on my floor and say, hey, you know, there's some diverse students out here that would really like to talk to you, and I don't put on programs that scream like, notice all the diversity in your room or in your community and stuff like that. So I think that what Purdue does is they spend so much time saying, look at these people who are not like you, but not saying, get to know these people who are not like you, and giving you opportunities to do that. Because I find that a lot of the activities that are directed toward learning about different cultures are directed towards those students who are of those cultures, as opposed to like advertising to students who are not of those cultures.
I've heard that Purdue was ranked 4th from the bottom among Big Ten affiliates at 13% for enrollment of domestic minority students. What do you think about that?
I think that's interesting, especially because we spend so much time here talking about diversity. And I was actually in an interview the other day, and we were interviewing somebody who works at the most diverse school in the United States, in New York. And he said that he doesn't spend as much time focusing on diversity because all you have to do is open your eyes. You won't see two people with the same skin tone, let alone the same personality or the same background, in a room together. And I thought that was really interesting and really cool, just because where I grew up, everybody looked like me, everybody acted like me, we had relatively the same backgrounds, and so there wasn't a lot of like diversity in general. Here I would say there's a fair amount of diversity, and we all keep claiming we're diverse. And I know being an RA, I get to see a good amount of diversity just in not just my community, the second floor here, but also the whole community of the residence hall that we live in. I would say I'm definitely surprised to hear it's that low, especially since we're always boasting about how diverse we are as a university.
Done.
Awesome. Thank you, Bria.